So I should do an introductory video for my channel because I know people are tuning in, and in my mind I just sort of think, oh well, you know my story from before, and you don't. Most people don't. I lost, I don't know, 800 followers, I think, and so I should do an introductory video. But one of my most problems now, well, the biggest problem, that's biggest health issue that's been happening for decades, is severe insomnia for unknown reasons. And then it turned out to be, I figured almost all of it out, and I was being misdiagnosed for years and over-medicated, over-drugged. But sleep is still an issue, and one of my biggest problems now, well, the sleep, being in bed. I've always said this: whatever is happening to me while I'm asleep is killing me. And my biggest issue is getting into bed, laying down, and all these symptoms start. Like, going to bed is hell. The whole process of trying to sleep, or the whole entire night, is hell. And I wake up like staggering out of that bedroom like I've walked off of a battlefield, and it takes me hours to recover. And when I get into bed, all these symptoms just, they start and they get worse and worse, and my head hurts to lay and I slept in a chair for a few years, and it was no different sleeping in a chair. Leaning my head against anything, laying my head down, my head hurts, my ear hurts. Nothing's right. Like my neck, my the neck and the head affect the chest somehow, and I'm trying to keep my airway open, and my trigeminal nerves, the side of my head feels like it's a skull without flesh on it. My trigeminal nerves hurt. I'm trying to keep my airway open, whether that's with CPAP or a mandibular jaw oral device. And my ear is opening and closing and opening and closing and opening and closing. Now I'm waking up to a huge noise, like a gunshot in the room. That never happened this morning, but it did for a few days in a row. So I was kind of scared to go to bed last night to wake up to that, but it didn't happen this morning. It's like everything is wrong when I'm in bed. My shoulders are crushing me. My arms and legs are crushing me. That's since the medication injury. But all this other stuff has gone on, like being in bed, being uncomfortable, not being able to get my head comfortable, not being able to sleep. This has gone on for decades. It could be, I was thinking last night, could be craniocervical instability. There's nobody here. Most of Canada won't recognize that illness. It could all be the Chiari. Canada is damn tough with Chiari patients, damn tough who they'll do surgery for. Sleep apnea, that's been a nightmare. It took 40 years to get my sleep apnea diagnosed, and only because I diagnosed it and I forced them to diagnose it. Nobody believed me for decades. Nobody believed that anything was wrong. Nobody believed that I wasn't sleeping. What they do is they get you on a bunch of psych drugs, and then all these doctors see that you're on all these psych drugs, and then they disbelieve you. They think you have no credibility because you're on all these psych drugs, which is just, you're digging a hole and pushing people in it and burying it. And then they're fighting their asses off for healthcare, and that is so twisted. And that's exactly what happened with me. It's so twisted. You're creating you're backing someone into a corner, And there's no way for the patient to fight themselves out. And what I did was wean off all the medications and began to get my mind back and fight for healthcare. And nobody should be talking like this. That should not be any person's experience. And no doctor wanted to deprescribe me. I deprescribed myself off of everything to fight for my life and to get properly diagnosed with various different things and to figure various medical things out and to get my brain and mind and memory back so I could research my butt off to get myself help. People shouldn't be talking like this. And the truth is, and you might hate me for this, you might really hate me for this comment. The truth is, if I was a doctor, see, when I was on on all those medications, I really didn't think that there was stigma attached to these medications. I thought people, and especially doctors, respected that you're on these medications. Honestly, and you might hate me for this, if I was a doctor and a patient walked in and they're on 14 different medications and a few different benzos and they're on several sleeping pills and an antidepressant and gabapentin and all these things that cause cognitive impairment, well, let me put it this way. If I had a baby, and I was shopping for a babysitter, would I want you to babysit my kid if you were on somebody's keys? Would I want, if I had a choice of babysitters, would I choose a woman who's on 14 medications, or would I choose a woman on no medications or zero medications? Would I choose to leave my baby along with you all day, or my toddler? And you know what? I would choose the one who's not on 14 medications. And you know what? And having said that, I'm going to contradict myself here. Having said that, I adored kids and I was safe with kids. And, I would fight to the death to protect your child from any harm if I was watching your child. If I was dating someone, looking to date somebody, and would I want to date a man or a woman on 14 medications or 1 or 2 medications? What do you think? If I had to hire a driver to drive me and a bunch of my children, I don't have a bunch of children, but drive me and a bunch of children to another province, would I hire somebody to drive me that's on 14 medications or 1 or 2 medications or no medications? If I was hiring a bus driver, those are damning words. Maybe people might really hate me for those words. But in retrospect, when I weaned off of everything, I was on 14 different prescriptions, 35 and a half pills a day. I was on over 1,000 pills a month, over 1,000 pills. You know what that looks like? In a container, you know what that looks like? It's horrific. So what do doctors think when you come in and you're saying, and you're in a panic, oh, I have this health issue, you're on over 1,000 pills a month. What do they think? Quick, I need to be tested for blah, blah, blah. So is it feasible that medical professionals are going to think that you don't have a lot of credibility when you're on several medications that can affect your judgment? And you know what? Those medications, when I was on those medications, They didn't make me delusional. They didn't make me make things up. They didn't make me a liar. Either you're that kind of if you're a liar whether you're on medications or not. If you fabricate stories, you're going to fabricate stories whether you're on medications or not, right? Medications aren't going to change your personality. Not like that. They're not going to make you into a liar. So, but in retrospect, if I was in their position, I might think the same thing. So, but did I not have credibility? No, I had credibility. I knew what I was talking about. I was sick, and I was being constantly disbelieved. So, I mean, let that be a warning for people, right? I don't even know and I'm not telling you, I've never told anybody to wean off all their medications. That's not what I'm telling people. But, you know what I mean? May be a factor to why you're not getting diagnosed. So I literally had to deprescribe off of everything to start to get answers, start to get proper diagnosis, find out what I needed to look into, and push and fight to get into the doctors I needed to see and get things validated. But it shouldn't have to be that way. That shouldn't be the process. Because literally, I was put on more and more medications. But it was like they dug a hole and pushed me in, and I had to fight my way out, and I couldn't. And the only way that I did get out was to wean off of everything. And none of them wanted to deprescribe me. And it took years to wean off of everything. And almost died weaning off of 2 of them. Nobody anywhere knew how to help me. It was a fight for my life. And that's crazy. You shouldn't have to be put through that to try to obtain, proper healthcare, proper diagnosis,